Hello, my name is Luke Francis Beirne, and I'll be reading from my third book, Saints Rest. Saints Rest is a neo-noir novella set in uptown St. John. St. John kind of serves as the main character of this book. To me, St. John is the perfect setting for a book like this because of its history and atmosphere. Brick buildings and tight alleyways mixed with thick fog and cargo ships coming in and out of the harbour. The city just has a combination of seaside beauty and urban grit. Saints Rest follows Frank Cain, a private investigator hired to look into a missing woman case. So the book opens with a quote from Alone Dies by Samuel Beckett. The clouds scud, tattered by the wind, across a limpid ground. If I had the patience to wait, I would see the moon, but I have not. Now that I have looked, I hear the wind. I close my eyes and it mingles with my breath. Words and images run riot in my head, pursuing, flying, clashing, merging endlessly. But beyond this great tumult, there is a great calm and a great indifference, never really to be troubled by anything again. Part 1. In St. John, sunshine was rare. When day broke, the sky turned grey and shards of light glared through the front steps where people huddled and smoked, to dockyards where people worked, to park benches where people slept. In the city's peripheries, the east and west, people sat in breakfast nooks and morning rooms. And maybe the sun shone there, rising over pine-crested cliffs and frozen bays, as bacon sizzled in the pan and accounts were discussed. As affairs ended in lawsuits and bitter resentment, rather than fistfights and broken windows. But, in the heart, St. John woke when the light shifted, and darkness retreated behind the clouds, distant but ever present, looming over the uneven rise of flat-top roofs. In our office, Randy and I were wide awake. I hunched over a space heater beside the corner window, with a double-double, and a folder of surveillance photos, suggesting that Dustin Coulter could walk on his left foot, and was therefore ineligible for workers' comp. Randy sat at his desk writing up the delicate details of an infidelity case. Our office was on the third floor of a townhouse on Princess Street. The ceilings were tall and the windows narrow. From the corner, you could see over the curve of the road to the plateau of the harbour, where the fog gathered and rolled. Below was the south end, Cannery Row by another name. In the south end, people were real. Ghostly demarcations kept apparitions at bay. I sipped the coffee and looked out. It wasn't good, but it was familiar. Footsteps in the hallway stopped in front of the door, drawing a slouching silhouette behind the glass. When the door opened, a woman stood in front of us. Looking 40 or way past it, she had distinct smile lines at the upper edge of her mouth, though it didn't appear that they had much exercise lately. The woman was worn, beaten. She wore an old fur-lined puffer coat, once expensive, now stained and torn. "Can I help you, ma'am?" Randy asked. He set down his pen, looking her up and down as he did. The woman glanced at me, then back to Randy. "Is this the Cormier agency?" She spoke with the rasp of a lifelong smoker. Randy couldn't help but smile. "It is," he said. He closed the file on his desk. "I'm Randy Cormier. Come on in." Randy was a good guy. I felt a kind of obligation to him because I was his first employee, and he hired me before we even met. The woman looked at me again and closed the door. She was nervous. Randy gestured to the chair in front of the desk. "Take a seat." She began to unzip her jacket, but he lifted his hand. "You might want to leave your coat on," he said. "Landlord controls the heat." She sat down and folded her arms in her lap, pulling the palms of her hands into her sleeves. Yellow fingertips protruded from the ends. "What can we do for you?" Randy asked. I set my coffee on the spare desk in the corner and sat behind it. I opened the folder and began to sort through the photos inside. When Randy's at work, I like to fade into the background. That's where I feel most comfortable. The background. "My daughter-in-law is missing," the woman said. "Okay, when was she last seen?" Randy asked. "Over a year ago." Randy nodded. He opened the top drawer of his desk and took out a thin black binder. He flipped to an empty sheet. "I'm going to start taking some notes," he said, "in case we open a file. I won't charge you unless we take you on." She nodded. "What's your name?" Randy began, filling in the blanks at the top of the sheet. "Malory Fleet." I looked up. I did not know Malory, but I knew her name. More importantly, I knew the case she was bringing us. In 2015, on the night of Halloween, her son, Jason Fleet, was shot to death outside his apartment.